See if I can figure this out. There we go. Well, good evening, everybody. Good morning, too. A little late this morning. How to walk. I'm not talking about getting up on your legs. And I always talk about the difference between acting. You hear it in American society. You need to act professional. You need to act right. And that's the problem. We've been conditioned to act. And that's all we do. We act, but the reality of who we are is often horrible. Because we've been taught, be good and you'll get a treat. So we can act to get the prize. And our society's doing that. That's why we got a whole genre of people that when you ask them how they're doing, they don't know how to be genuine. They don't know how to say, I'm doing okay. You doing all right? Out here in Augusta, I noticed that every town has its fingerprint. And when Nero lived next door, you doing all right? Everything all right? They do that. That's how they greet you. You all right? Everything all right? I like that. I cannot stand the corporate response. I'm doing well. What does that mean? And corporate people do it. People that are fake, people that got the drawbridges tightly up, say, I'm doing well. They do it at church. They do it in the office. Their marriage is a shambles. Their daughter's dating a rock star that's into drugs. Their life is unraveling, but when they come into that office, I'm doing well. Yeah, right. Why do we do that? Why is it we're afraid to be vulnerable? Why? Because you know what happens when you're vulnerable. People will harass, stalk, and bother you. It's Sunday morning. We've noticed, and we've been doing pattern recognition on Andrew, likes to come and post the address and do dumb stuff like that. And he seems to be activated on Sunday, which is the day I try to go to, well, I do go to church and hear the message. And Satan is real. And he comes after us. Billy Graham referred to the Holy Spirit as the hounds of heaven. Well, Satan is the pit bull of hell. Being honest and transparent is not Satan's favorite thing. He moves through the people that say they're doing well. The successful businessman that's in the outside world has acted. Looks good. He got the new SUV. He backs out of his driveway. Hi, neighbor! You know, and inside the guy's about to implode. He can't stand his marriage, but he knows if he leaves her, he'll get cleaned out like Roto-Rooter in a drain. And this is the problem. Our society doesn't teach us. Men make fun of us if we show weakness. If you got two mountaintops and you got a valley, you don't want to be a sheep and lay down in the middle of the valley and put your legs in the air and go, bah! To signal to every wolf to drop their fangs in your soft underbelly. And yet, the Bible tells us that God saves us, and he takes a heart of stone and makes it a heart of flesh. And that's why the world hates us. They're proud of their callous jadedness. They're proud of their hardness. Excuse me. And that's the sad thing. That's the sad thing. We live in a world. We live in an America where we have people walking in our midst that would get off on seeing Christians killed. This idea that people are basically good is a lie. The Bible says all sin and fallen short of the glory of God. But do you as a Christian realize the implications of that? Do you realize you could be pushed? If your buttons were pushed and your back was up against the wall, do you know you'd be capable of doing something you think you would never do? Well, guess what? Until God brings you to the point where you see that about yourself, then you'll continue to act. The Bible says be, and it never says act. The word professional is not in the Hebrew and the Greek. Somebody tried to tell me skilled laborers. Skilled and professional are not the same. Skilled is good at what you do. I'm skilled. What is my skills? I can problem solve and I can figure things out. It may be difficult, but I can do it. I have the tenacity to stick to something even though I'm about ready to blow it up with a sledgehammer. The Bible says, be kind in your anger. It says, be angry, but sin not. Be tenderhearted. Be forgiving. The Bible never tells us to act. The Bible never teaches us, I'm doing well, when inside you know you're not doing well. And why does everybody answer the same way now? Because somebody somewhere has a computer program to most of the people in our American society. And it started with commercial consumerism. If you, like me, don't have a TV and you stay off of television, it's like when you stop eating beef. I'm not vegan. But if you haven't had beef for a while and you actually go to cook it and eat it, the smell might get to you. And all of a sudden it doesn't taste as good as you thought it did. When you turn off the TV, it's amazing. Most Americans get off and they go straight home, TV's on. The commercials. There's nothing Christian about the commercials. Nothing. The Bible tells man and women, owe no one anything but the debt to love one another. Our society demands we get in debt. The Bible does not want us to be slaves economically. The Lord's Prayer is an outline of how we ought to pray, not a set of words to rote, ritualize, rinse, and repeat. And you go to churches, Our Father, who art in heaven, and the responsive reading kicks in. Jesus did not tell us to pray that prayer. That prayer was a recipe. Our Father. We start with that. We don't. We do the reverse. Oh God, I need your help. One thing about marriage I've noticed that is a problem. We'll go to work and play an act to keep our job. You got that boss you don't like. How are you, Mr. Nelson? Been good till I had to come in here and see your face. You can't say that. I'm all right. And we lie. And you go home to your wife. You don't have to act anymore. And that's why marriages come apart. We're taught to act out there. And we come home and we've been paid to act all day. And we're not good actors. And we don't qualify as actors. And we come home and the real us shows up. And then the wife and the husband are both disillusioned in each other. That's why I'm seeing the importance of talking to somebody for a long while. Sex is easy. It doesn't come with instructions. Most people will figure out how to do it. And that's like eating the dessert before the main course. And the main course is, do you have the ability that once the orgasm's over, do you have what it takes to keep it together? Because I'm going to tell you about me. Even if I meet a woman, I'm talking to somebody now, but a woman is not going to solve the sexual issues that swirl within. How do I know this? I've had lust all my life. And we think of that commercial, Frosted Lucky Charms, they're magically delicious. It doesn't work that way. When you go into a marriage and you've had a problem with lust, you're going to have it in the marriage. And the freeing thing about Christ, the freeing thing about Christianity, is you discuss with a potential, hey, I'm just going to let you know. If you're the type to get jealous because a woman went by in a no bra and a skimpy top and my head swiveled, if you're going to get jealous, then we probably ought to not be together. Because I'm not going to fight that battle. I'm not going to be with a woman who berates and guilt trips me because there's so many pretty women. It's not that I want to run off and marry them. I don't. Jesus' words really show just how holy God is. You've heard that it was said, do not commit adultery. But I say to you, you see, the Pharisees were corporate. They were acting. You know that they were together behind closed doors. Oh, did you see that girl outside the temple? Oh, man, she's a fox. And Jesus nailed them. But I tell you that if a man looks at a woman with lust, wait a minute, it says a man, so a woman can't lust, right? The word man can imply humankind. Women lust too. They just do it differently. I remember all the years growing up, even among Christian women, don't mention a movie. Oh my gosh, she's so fine. Wait a minute, aren't you married? Yeah, Mike, but what? You're lusting. Your man turns his head at a woman that walks down the street in a skimpy top. You're going to berate him, guilt him, shame him, and you're lusting after a Hollywood actor. Let's pull this stuff out like we need to. How to walk. See that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. What does that look like? People come on their channel and tell me the 3 letters of the alphabet that they finally learned. They do it all the time. I mean, it's 2026. I'm amazed at how many adults feel the need to tell me that they know 3 out of 26 letters of the alphabet. I'm like, man, when I was a kid, I learned all 26. What happened, Lucy? You got some explaining to do. And they say, WTF. What the F am I watching? What the F is he wearing? That you even ask the question is a form of acting. You know what you're watching, a guy doing what I do. Why would you type that in the room? Oh, it's to get response. It does. Delete comment. Bye. Go play somewhere else, little boy. Or the woman commenting on my clothing, and then she's got a video focused on her legs with fleecy pants on and litter and clutter around her. I don't know if she's in the car or bedroom, but it's a mess. Something in the way you move. I said, what is this? She never responded. And I did that. You made a rude comment on my channel, and your one video's up there showing you in fleecy pant legs and clutter around you with the song, Something in the Way You Move. What is your point? I did a video last night, if I don't turn off the camera. And I had this as the backdrop. That's a painting or, generated computer, but I love that. All my life, I've wanted to live in that kind of a setting. The ocean, the island, the palm trees, that is me. And I bought this necklace yesterday. I like hearts. You don't see men wearing heart necklaces. That's gay to them. And that's why most men don't have heart. They got a heart on, but they don't have heart. And I'm a fish swimming against the stream all my life, and even now. To be unique, to be different, to not follow the status quo, that takes guts. And most people don't have that. In the last few weeks, I've watched the life of a man unravel. He's made foolish decisions, moved in one girlfriend, signed everything over to her. Helene came, she was there, took the insurance check because her name was on everything, cashed it, built herself a house on his property so that she could anchor herself and never be kicked off, and broke up with him. That man just moved a girlfriend in 2 weeks ago, took a day off to do it. He was all happy. And then when his truck quit running and he had to borrow a truck to get to work and borrow a ride, he borrowed the ride, and the ride broke down on the way to work. And then he said he's going to have all his teeth pulled, and that's $11,000. I'm like, woo, this guy was arrogant and giving me hell. His life is exploding. And then he moved in this girl, and he has a doorbell cam. Everybody's looking at their doorbell cams on their break. See if a bear comes up to the porch or who's coming and going. And he watched her moving out. And he messaged her and said, what are you doing? Well, you can't get me to work anymore. Now that he got his truck running, now she's messaging him saying, I'm sorry, maybe things could work. I looked at him, I said, Joe, don't date any more women and don't move any women into your house. Friday he says, yeah, I'm going to date a school teacher. I met her on Plenty of Fish. I said, Joe, stop the dating. Oh no, she's got her own house. We're going to go see the Green Jackets or whatever over in South Carolina. Play baseball or whatever the heck it is. I thought, some people don't learn. Let's push the stupid button one more time. And the guy with the hammer comes out, he goes, boop, boop. How many times are you going to push it before you realize that hurts? I notice there's some people, they don't learn by doing it. They have to hit that button over and over again before they connect the dots. You're 53 years old. At some point, you got to start minimizing the damage to your life. If I have a ship and I have a leak, I'm going to make sure that the pumps work. And the pumps do work in my life. I do make mistakes, but I stop and go, don't do that again. But how do you walk circumspectly, not as fools? Mike, what are you doing this weekend? I'm going to go get drunk. Shipping clerk told me I got 2 booty calls. He's bragging about that. 2 girls want booty calls. I said at the same time, oh no, they don't even know each other. I said, wait, I thought you were dating. Well, I don't know if she's truthful or not, but she wants to do booty call. People are so casual about it now. God says, I tell you, the man who looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery. That nails all of us. Just on commandments alone, that we're done. And when you're going to date now or marry or be involved with somebody, you had better be honest. Stop playing that game. It'll blow up in your face. I believe in telling a woman the truth. Separate the girls from the ladies. I don't want you thinking I'm perfect. I struggle with lust, and even if I'm married to you, it ain't going to go away. It doesn't mean I'm going to run out and have an affair, but I do look at this, or I might relieve myself. Can you live with that? And there are women saying, oh, I shouldn't have to. You're a godly man. Great. But not only have the Holy Spirit convicting me, now I got a pit bull of a wife who's going to get out the sledgehammer of guilt. Don't marry men or women that do that. If you cannot accept a person where they're at right now, proceed no further. That's wise advice. Love doesn't ignore the problem. But if you go into a marriage thinking like you bought a house and you're going to remodel it, watch the fireworks go off in your face. You cannot fix another human. I know. I have a hard time fixing moi. You get in a relationship and it might end up looking like this. That was compliments of Michelle. She sent that this morning. I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to use that. You get in a relationship and suddenly the gloves are off and you're like, wow, I could think of many strange captions to put to those two dolls. Why do we act? Why do we do that? Why? You can't see it, but she's holding looks like a primitive troll doll. Why do we do it? It's a defense mechanism. It's safe. We play a game. When you work in the office and you wear your suit and tie, you do this a lot. Everything you do in there is all game playing, posturing. Corporate America and me would not get along. Because I'm not a corporate guy. There is no such thing as a professional. The Bible says all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Professional is a divide and conquer word. Well, I'm a professional. I should make more. You should make more than somebody who's not a professional by definition. I always marvel when you look at skyscrapers. I've been fascinated by them and the big girders, and the guys that build those earn peanuts compared to the people that will rent those offices later. What's wrong with this picture? We pay some guy to go to college to regurgitate crap that was poured into their head, to pass a test so they can make rape you amounts of money. Versus the guy, if he falls off of that girder, it's over. There's something wrong in America that says pencil pushers should make more. You know, the pyramids were built by slaves. The American society is built by slaves, and I'm not talking black. The truck drivers, the restaurant people, the factories. I take pride in what I do. I pack things properly. We're getting stuff sent back, broken, busted. Like I told my supervisor, I said, you saw me pack that window. I said, if you look at that, either the shippers kicked that thing around or the customer went to open it and it slipped out of his hand and he broke it. Because it's easy. Oh, this came to me broken, and our company won't dispute it. They'll send him another one to refund his money. I knew a guy in Duluth. He bought a car. It was a wreck of a car, and he's trying to get it running. Walked down the hill, got a battery. He dropped the battery, poked the side where the acid was coming out. He tried to take it back, and they said, we're not going to refund that. You dropped it. They gave him a repair kit. I thought, oh boy. And I've learned something. People are liars. I've counted 2-3 times the items I put into a box, double checked it, had somebody else double check it. I was short when I said they were not. They're trying to get free stuff. People are dishonest. And how do we, as a society of Christians, going to church in the South is an event. In the 80s, women would spend hours with hair this big. And they work harder than an auto detailer and applying makeup all over. Anybody remember Saturday Night Live? The church lady? Ain't that special? Southern Belle Christians are some of the most irritating Christians I've ever seen. They look down their nose at everybody. I look at some of these Southern women, I go, I'm not from here, and I can see it. One came into the church 2 weeks ago, and I was like, boy, she thinks she's all out on a stick. She had the rest me biatch face. Every time she opened her mouth, she talked in a condescending tone to others. I was like, woo! She actually gets up in the morning and thinks she's right with the living God. How does somebody get that way? I got a message. I said, I'm not going to debate a guy claiming to be a girl that's a boy that he wants to debate on his terms and roast people on his channel. Well, he might even just do it privately on Discord. I said, no. How do I know he doesn't record it and throw it out there? The Bible makes it very clear not to engage with fools like that. If somebody wants to hear what I believe because they're searching, that's one thing. But to put yourself in the assembly of an antagonist, the Bible says, do not cast your pearls before swine. And the swine will say, oh, he doesn't have the confidence. Oh, I got confidence, but I also have wisdom. If I know if I take a four-wheel drive truck into terrain, I'm going to get stuck and can't get out, we're not going to go in there. That doesn't imply that I don't know how to drive the truck or that my truck's not capable. It means there are some situations where you can't win. We are supposed to run our race in such a way that we obtain the prize. Sometimes in our race, we have to run around something because to run into it would hamper our race. We do not need to prove to every fool out there that God exists. We don't even need to answer their foolish, dumb questions. God is bigger than that. And to all the clowns on the internet that want to impress me that they know WTF, it doesn't work. You know what I'm wearing. You know what you're watching. Instead of leaving a dumb shows you're a fool comment, swipe up, baby. Because I promise you, by your comment, I already know I've got higher intellect than you do. By miles. But how do you walk? How do you walk in a Christian marriage? How do you walk as a Christian in your workplace? How do you walk behind the wheel of an automobile? That's the question. How do you walk when the lights are off and nobody sees you but God? I could take off all my clothes right now and you wouldn't know it. I could be touching myself and you wouldn't know it. I'm not doing that. I'm pacing my kitchen in the dark. I got enough natural light from the morning dawn to see what I'm doing, but you can't see me. Even if I get close, you still can't see me. And that's the problem. Whether it's the corporate world or the neighbors down the street that got everything, smoke and mirrors. I had a black woman tell me that many years ago that I dated in Colorado. I thought her hair was real. We were in her car going to her apartment after routes one morning. Smoke and mirrors, Michael. So we black women wear wigs, we can do things, and nobody's none the wiser. Same with bras. There was a woman in Virginia. My marriage was coming unraveled, and barbers or hairstylists are great. You can actually, it's almost like they're priests in a way. You can sit there and tell them anything, and they're your stylist, and you can just kind of bleed on them, She said, I used to be cute. I said, you look fine. Michael, if I took my shirt off, my boobs would fall to the floor. You remember when you see young girls growing up in school and they got the push-up bra, and it looks like, if you were to take that off, there's nothing there. Girls, when I was at Mammoth, people said, oh my gosh, look, she stuffed her bra. You can see the sock rolled up, balled up, and sticking through the... Why do they do that? Because people like to act. People like to pretend. People like to give off something that they're not. And corporate guys, they're childish. All of them. All. That is probably the most insecure field to belong to. I'm doing well, Mr. Nelson. How are you today? The tone of the voice, the inflection of the voice is designed in their mind to keep them up here, to keep you down here. And I like to say, probably not as well as you, but I'm doing good. I'm surviving. They don't like those answers because you just shot a hole in their colander. Corporate people ought to just wear these. I could deal with them a lot easier because they're full of holes. Forbes magazine. Look at the golf industry. Golf is classic. You got the eyes on shirt. The look. The clothing, the slacks. When you look at a golf magazine I picked up at the flea market on 2000, copy 2000 of the Masters. That's all acting. Golfing is acting. Even the narration. I love the old baseball and football narrators. They were legendary. And he's got the ball. Yeah, it's a home run! And when they get excited, it's awesome. But golf isn't like that. Steps up to putt. That's a 5-iron he's using. Yeah, that's his favorite one. Misses the birdie. It's too serious for me. I could not be a golfer. I don't walk and talk and dress the way a golfer did. And they certainly, from PGA, would not allow me to come out on the course like this. But wouldn't it be funny if I was so good and I walked out there and said, really? So you're going to comment on my clothing? Oh my gosh, that guy just got in a hole-in-one from a half a mile away. You want to talk about my clothing now? This is the problem. Acting is big. Most of golf is acting. They got people in the background. Quiet, please. I think, all right, he's going to slam that ball in the hole. I'd love to do a comedy movie. And the golfer turns around, the crowd's Mr. Nelson, that is not professional. Man, y'all need to lighten up. He's playing with a ball and a stick. What's the problem? Sheesh. Golf is a discipline. I'm not making fun of it. I'm really not. A good golfer, you know, I can hit stuff with a stick. I'm really good at it. But when I tried to golf once, there's no freaking way. I always told everybody there's only one ball team I'm on and I'm good at it. And it's the one between my legs. That's it. I can't, you know, I'm not good at basketball. I'm not good at football. Why am I trying to catch an oval-shaped ball that's too big for my hand? That makes no sense at all. And you hear about Brady and the Brady Bunch and New England Patriots and ball under inflation. Sickening. Grown men and you're cheating. Nice. Acting. But let's unpack Tiger Woods. Now you go back in time. You know, the guys from the olden days, they were really good at the acting. They did it all the way to the end. They were really good at that. Tiger Woods has flipped how many DUIs? Screwing around on that Norwegian wife of his or Swedish wife. And that's another thing. No offense. That woman became a millionaire by being involved with him. And she profited on the divorce. And when the American judges and the court system starts to realize all you're doing is demonizing men and making women rich, they didn't earn any of that money. And they play the victim and they clean out a guy's entire bank account. You married a guy because of his money and his prestige. There was none of this. In fact, you want me to say something that's going to get me in trouble? Are you ready for this? Better sit down, ladies. It's going to sound racist, but it's not. It is an observation. When I was in Ohio, we ran a troubled youth home. Several white gals were in there and they were troubled. And they would tell me, oh, I'm dating a black guy because it angers my parents. And a lot of white women, especially in Augusta and place, it's in vogue for them to go after a black guy. And many of them are not, their motive is not love, it's shock value. The other thing is that they like to walk around. The same thing I did when I went to Asia. Watch this. So they like to walk around and, nope, I'm sorry, I did out of my race. Most of those, that hookup right there, doesn't work or last. That's all I'm going to say. Statistically, it just doesn't. I'm not saying, I'm not anti-racial dating. I'm not. In fact, I welcome it. It's nobody's business who you date. Jim Jones is a clown. Bob Jones, excuse me. I went to a church in Wheat Ridge, Colorado that was all BJU graduates. They're very legalistic. Playing cards is a sin, rock music is a sin, dancing is a sin. And they look down their nose at everybody if they're not just like them. Is that what the gospel of Jesus Christ is about? Jesus picked 12 disciples. Were any of them even close to like each other? You had the sons of thunder. There's thunder in my buns. Bum, 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 bum. You had Peter, who put his foot in his mouth constantly. You had John, the disciple whom Jesus loved. They were as radically different from one another as you could get. And you see that in 3 years. Master, grant that we can sit on either side, and the other disciples became indignant. Petty jealousy competitions. And there's old Judas robbing the piggy bank. I got yellow fever after a 14-year marriage. I didn't seek it. I was alone in Hibbing, and I thought, I'm never going to marry again. I'm done. Yeah, after 2 weeks and your hormones, but I didn't get to use the last 7 years of my marriage. I didn't have sex with her. It was kind of pointless. I learned to have a very intimate relationship with my hand. I had a discussion with a young lady. I said, I'm sorry. I'm fully capable of having an orgasm that's deeper than I've ever had in sexual experience with women. And she said, same here. Oh, good. That's awesome, because we got something to build with. I want a woman who's honest. I want a woman who allows me to be honest and doesn't put a guilt trip on me. All this jealousy because you turned your head or you're looking at something on the internet, that is not going to make people grow closer to God. So how do we walk? Well, you're not supposed to look at that, Michael. You're right. But you know why I look at that? Because it's pleasing to the eye. Because I'm alone. My orgasms at the thought of that is intense. I had an orgasm yesterday. And last night before I went to bed, it was deep. I need that. I believe I need that. I believe that people who regularly drain the main vein, people will call them perverts. But I think that you reduce. You remember that song by the black artist, Sexual Healing? You know, people talk about the black community and sex, but he does have a song that's right. I love it when Christians get on there and say, sex is not a need. Like hell it isn't. Speak for your sorry, lame, boring self. Maybe you eat rice cakes with no flavor, but not me. And you got women in our culture. They're dead in bed. They're dead, period. And then men are all pigs. No, we're not all pigs. I've said some groundbreaking stuff here that nobody will say. I've talked about the need for underage girls to dress appropriately because lust does not discriminate based on age, ethnicity, or income. You could have a poor lady come out of the district with no bra and her hair beautiful, and you're going to lust. You could have a black woman walk by in the office with the whole side boob, and she's beautiful, and you're going to have a problem with lust. Lust is an equal opportunity employer. There is no discrimination in me when it comes to lust. It's very interesting to notice when I went to the steam bath that people of different ethnicities, different income levels on the same sex, there's something wrong in our society when same sex gets along better across racial and economic lines, but in church you can't. In society you can't. Pay attention to that. I sat next to a black man in the steam bath, smooth, six-pack abs. His skin was velvet. His shoulder was against mine. He touched me, I touched him. I felt his pecs. Beautiful man, beautiful human being, a work of art. No, we didn't have sex. And even for me to admit this, I mean, if I was to go to my church and anybody knew this, they'd be like, oh, why is it that we tell everybody, for all have sinned and fallen short of glory? Did you hear what Mike Nelson confessed here? Oh my gosh! Yeah. What do we really believe? Oh, he's a faggot. I am. There's not one guy been in here and we've done something. Or me in their house. I mean, I could go downtown. I could have gone last night. I could have had a hookup. I could have worn that lace thing. This necklace. I could have worn that skirt bottom and I could have walked on down there and I could have hooked up. I don't want to. I don't want to because I don't want to build that. Unless the Lord builds a house. You know, we're sinners and we need to admit it. And when you're alone, there is a neurological thing. And we talk about psychology, we talk about this. Man, I don't pay attention to psychologists. You want to learn about people. Work with them. Drive school bus, work in customer service. Be involved on the internet and you will learn psychology without a degree. Read the Bible and see what it says about man, and there you go. I don't care if you're corporate. There's something in our society that because somebody's corporate and a successful CEO, that they've got a level of holiness and godliness that the rest of us don't have. That is a lie from the devil. You earn more money. You got a prestigious position. It doesn't mean jack in the eyes of Jesus Christ. You're an actor. You're a game player. And corporate people are not listening in on my channel. They won't. They think they're flying at 36,000 feet. Yeah. They're the ones that are going to miss the kingdom. Some people think the gospel is for poor people. Well, they need a crutch. No, the gospel's for the entire world. It's for Vladimir Putin. It's for Kim Jong-un. It's for the group Blackpink. Our Asian sales guy got back 2 weeks being in Korea. His brother got married over there. And get this, he married a white woman, but she wanted the wedding in South Korea. Okay. He had his hair going down to his shoulders and he had it trimmed off, straight down from here down. I laughed. I said, oh my gosh. I said, did you join a K-pop band when you were over there? He goes, I know, right? I said, did you choose that haircut? He goes, well, I went to the guy, he couldn't speak any English, and I just told him. And that's what he did. I said, you know, you look like K-pop. He goes, yeah. He said, you know, I was at the airport, and all security kept people back, and he said a K-pop band walked through there with all their following. He said, Mike, it was a trip. K-pop. Let's talk about that. I didn't download any pictures. Blackpink, Mama Land, and some of these. These are immature girls and boys. They got all the backdrop of American materialism and makeup. Blackpink has been experimenting with the other girls in the band. I mean, K-pop is an explosion. of decadent culture. Attitude culture. Grown women acting like teenage, narcissistic biatches. It's horrible. South Korea has lost their minds. You can still go to China and Vietnam and Thailand and get into some cultural heritage, but South Korea seems to be shedding it fast. And Western dumpster culture has taken over. Don't fall in love with a K-pop girl. That will not last. Watch the videos of K-pop. Attitude. Now we have the same problem in America. It's been imported to Asia, exported. But women can behave like a teenager well into adult years and get away with it. And corporate America doesn't change. They're stifling. They're oppressive. They're a form of slavery. People talk about racial discrimination. I want to talk about the way corporate America views us and what they're doing and their greed and their oppression. They're not making good products. $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 for pickup. When a Fijian man who moved here years ago said, man, these trucks are crap. I want an older truck. He said they're sitting at the dealership. People don't want to buy them. The problem in America is we working class, we won't do what we need to do. We could bring this country to its knees without causing anything destructive, without breaking any laws. Everybody at the same time. All of us. I'm not coming in this week. I'm joining a national boycott to make a point to Washington. Shut down the trucks, shut down the pumps, shut down the hotels, shut down the restaurants, shut down the factories, shut down the grocery stores. How long is Washington going to piddle around? How long? Can't get any food, can't go out to eat, can't get gas. We do that for 1 week. The working class people in America, we would be hurt. But we won't do it. Which proves we are not the United States of America. We are the individualistic, rugged, fierce, put down kings and queens, and we just go on and worry about surviving ourselves. We don't do it. We won't do it. If we want to make a point, then we're not being paid fair. If we want to make a point to Washington, you're taxing us, and we're not getting anything as a result of it. And you're screwing us at the pumps, and you're screwing us on utilities. You want to have spilled milk at the table in a nice restaurant. Have all of us at the same time. The people that clean the hotel rooms. Everybody, call in for a week. Go to the grocery store, stock up, protect your butt, and hunker down, baby. How many days would it take before Washington begged us to get back to work? I'm tired of these politicians that don't listen to us. They succor us for their vote. Liars, clowns, and lunatics all. Their bottom line goes up, our bottom line goes down. You want good health care? You want to get all your damaged teeth fixed? Because you can't afford the health care at your job? Go commit a crime and go to jail. Then they got to take care of you. That is messed up in America. My tax dollars pay for somebody to have a transgender sex change in the prison. Well, Mike, I don't vote. I don't get political. Yeah, you're part of the problem. Thank you for admitting that. But our vote isn't working. We're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. People are so Trump enamored and so Trump cult. Oh, we support him with Iran. Turn them into an ashtray. How'd you like it if they were saying that about America? And they do. And there's an implication, well, we're Americans, we're better. Are we? Are we better at marriage? Are we better at the way we treat fellow Americans? No, we're not. I bet you there's Iranian women that would treat me better than American women. I'll bet money on the table. I'm noticing more foreign women at the flea market. Pakistani now sell this. Funny, they smile at me. You got a lot of white women that think they're too good for that. Won't even, they'll stare and glare. You smile and nothing's there. Bring me an Iranian woman that loves me and fixes me good Iranian food. Come on. I'll love you to pieces. I'm tired of all this. Now, the problem is, if she's Muslim, that ain't going to work. You don't just blow up another country. And Trump has already proven to us. You wrote on ticket that you didn't get us into war. Now you did. Now you're running up the deficit, up the flagpole like Obama, like Biden, like Bush, like all the others. And you're supposed to be different. You're supposed to be better. How many of you still support Trump? I get those on YouTube. You believe Trump should have invaded Iran? No! If they do something to us, punish them. But war's not that easy. War sucks. You try to take out a regime, you don't want to kill women and children. And some of those buttholes hide with all them being the shields. Those aren't men, by the way. Men don't put their wives and children in jeopardy. Middle Easterners do, because they're cowards. If you look at Abraham, if you look at Jacob, when they moved across the desert with their families, flocks, and herds, and they were meeting an enemy, they put their wives and the important people all the way to the back of the procession. That's what a man does. He protects his women and children. He doesn't put them out as shields unless he really wants to be done with the marriage and he's tired of his kids. How to walk? I didn't answer the question because I don't think any of us knows the exact answer. But there's a hint. See that you walk circumspectly. What is circumspect? It's not like circumcision, a removal of that flap of skin at the end of your peenie. I didn't look up a working definition of circumspect. But I like an old nautical term. Look alive, mate. When you're on a ship, you don't wear your hair bonnet and lay around all day. I noticed in Augusta, a specific ethnicity of women will sleep all damn day. And then they'll stay up late at night making noise and disturbing the rest of us normal people that gotta work and sleep normal, working, evening hours. When you're on a ship, you don't come out in your jammies. You put your sailor stuff on and you get ready to go. You avoid foolishness. I'm a man. I'm not going to confess its entirety, but I realize my sexuality, my gosh, it's really charged up. Just a woman putting her hand on my bare shoulder is highly erotic. Not just any woman. I thought it was funny. One of the black ladies with dreadlocks, I said, hey, she goes, hey, love, how are you? She had a younger girl with her. She looked at me, I said, hello. She said, you look like, and I think she said a woman. And I love my French. She put her hand right over her face. Come on, let's go. I'm like, ah! I'm going to tell you all again, you can judge the clothing I wear, but I'm going to say it. When are you going to learn? It's people like me aren't screwing up the country. If you believe that, you're deluded. It's the professionals. It's the suits and ties. It's the actors. Every one of these ads I get are the same. Same thing, different day. Same MO. Same crap. What is the difference between these two guys? What's the difference? Running for Georgia stuff. What's the difference? What's the difference? You see the unique individuality in these two? Here, let's put them together. You see how different they are? Dressing exactly the same. One with a tie, one without. Both got the jacket. See, we believe that that's what you got to do. You got to dress that way. You got to be like that. I got news for you, honey bunches of oats. Wearing these clothes is not making our country better. It hasn't done it. Fetterman, he was crazy. When they voted him in, I said, well, Pennsylvania lost their brains. But even Fetterman is coming around going, you know what? See, that's the kind of people we need. People that are willing to admit something's jacked up. You know, when you have a disaster, I don't need 10 Democrats. Well, we're going to do a group study. The building collapsed. Can you get some jacks to lift that up so we can get those trapped people out of there, please? Well, we need to have a task force. Get out of here. I want people in this country that actually move and shake. Not twerk, but work and change things. I have looked at a lot of the women out here. I walk in the store. Y'all comment on me. Imagine a young black lady wearing this, shorts that are this tall. And she walking through that store with the bottom lip, buying groceries. And this is Booty Call Central. They ain't looking at me. And they get pregnant and knocked up, sleep all day, run around town in their hair bonnet and their pajamas. What is wrong with people? You're going to go and have sex with that, produce a baby. And I just see this baton passed over and over and over and over again. People don't learn at all. Period. Why? And those are the same women that 40 years, advanced things 40 years. Their hips are 3 feet across. They've got a attitude. They're standing there complaining about racism at the front counter because somebody screwed up their order. Why do people have sex with these people? That's what needs to be answered. acting or being. Who said it? Life is but a stage. It is. The curtain rolls out and there you are. Mike, how was your weekend? Oh, it was great. Thank you for asking. We're doing well. Who likes having those kinds of conversations? And I'm guilty. I talk a lot. That is a flaw of mine. And I'm guilty sometimes of not being a deep listener because I kind of know where the conversation's going. So my mind has already put up a steel trap. Yeah, I knew they were going to say this. I mean, I won't. And sometimes I tend to cut off people, and I'm very bad at that. That's why it's better for me to live alone. I actually probably need a woman who's very quiet and wants to hear but doesn't talk much. Somebody who talks as much as me, it may be a problem. And I recognize my flaws. And I have a choice to make. Are you going to be with somebody who's chopping at you? Or is it better to be who you are and just be left alone? But my manhood says, man, it'd be nice to, because it's a good thing when you care about somebody other than you. But your wife or your husband should not become a burden where now you're faking it until you make it. And I'll tell you what, in sickness and in health, for better, for worse, everybody runs through those vows because they're starry-eyed. That first morning you wake up on your honeymoon and her hair looks like a garden rake went through it. And she's looking at you like, and you think, wow, did I just marry Medusa? It's fun. We don't date and do that. You get to know somebody. And people today say, well, you got to try the car before you buy it. That applies to used cars, not people. That applies to used cars, not people. More emphasis in America is spent on chemistry versus compatibility. That's my point. I know, I made mistakes. Animal attraction. And I've listened to women tell their sexual stories with men, and men do this and men do that, and they don't like this and they don't like that. What do you like? Well, I'm not really sexual. Note to self, be wary. I'm sexual. A woman's got to at least meet that condition. That's part of that. It's not good for men to be alone. If you're not sexual, and then you're going to get mad when a bikini goes by and I look. Well, honey, you're not meeting my needs, and it's not that I want to have an affair, but if I'm just going to be masturbating for the rest of my life, then there is no point in getting married. If my hand can solve my problem and you don't, marriage is stupid. Huh? I had a black guy tell me years ago, masturbation is wrong because you think you don't need a woman. And I said, that's not the case. I can masturbate 3 times a day, 7 days a week, and I still see a woman in public and desire. No, so that's not true. I just have a sex drive that doesn't quit, ever. And when I get sick or I'm getting a cold or something, that's really a strange thing. Then I get a little bit of delirious. I'm in touch with myself, and that's a good place to be. Most people rush into a relationship. The guy at work, he's just bouncing from one to the other. Rebound relationships are very, very, the failure rate is predictable. It's okay to be honest with yourself and with God, and there's no condemnation. Sometimes you telling other people stuff, you open up a Pandora's box. A guy at church doesn't need to know you struggle with this or that. They don't need to know unless you did something involving somebody at church. You don't owe them an explanation. But let's keep doing the same thing over and over again. If I run, well, if I run, if I do, I'll do this, I'll do that. They all look the same. Balding, same look. I would never get voted in to run the state of Georgia. People in Georgia would not vote this in. It wouldn't matter that I have the ability, once I learn what I'm doing and finally groove, they don't look at that. They look at what they're wearing. People are still in the masks before 2020 and after. The mask is a suit and tie. The mask is a college degree. And nobody's asking the question. We've been hiring suits and ties. We've been hiring the degrees. What are they doing that's transforming? Find me somebody who puts a state on the map that in our old hymn, our alabaster city shine. I want a politician that you're like, wow, you did awesome. You made Georgia a place where I'm proud to be a citizen. This stuff is, man. Wah, 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 wah. Won't you come out tonight? Buffalo girls, won't you come out tonight? Einstein's definition of insanity is played out every damn day in politics, every damn day in church, every damn day in the workplace. How you doing today? I'm doing well. We do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And it's been going and going and going and going and going. Why? Imagine all the people playing the same old game. And that's what we do. Anesthetize ourselves with a little pot, another cigarette, some alcohol, a little more sex, make a little love, get down tonight. We trifle with trifles. Oh man, this Friday I'm gonna have some beer. Ooh, that's exciting. You worked all week to go get drunk. Wow, that's awesome. You're dumb. We're not changing our world. We're drowning in ourselves. We're anesthetizing ourselves. The biggest thing I look forward to all week is every day rubbing one out. That orgasm feels so good. Because life and people sucketh. What are we doing? Are we acting? Are we being? How do you be? It's not normal for me to be. I don't know how to be. I just know how to be who I am. But Michael, you're a Christian. But idiot, I know that. But Michael, you need to be different. But idiot, I already am. But you're wearing a woman's clothes. This is the man's shirt I cut off, so you're wrong. Try again. Well, you look feminine. You're right. And let me run for governor of California on this platform. Let me do it. I'll run circles around Gavin Newsom. They're all about trans and they're all about, open this, open that. California. Would you vote in a conservative who will do his best at making California a place that people want to live, reduce taxes, and stop all these ridiculous Nazistic controls, and make California a place people want to travel to and be a part of again, where I'm from? What do you want? You want a suit-tied, gelled-haired, silver-haired freak that should have married Justin Trudeau? Give me a break. I'm tired of that. Democrats never fix anything. They ruin everything. 3 of the worst governors in the history of the United States. Shitburn, Michigan. Hochul in New York, just the name alone ought to make you run. You hawk up a loogie. And Gavin. What a gay name. Gavin. With gel gay hair. I'm doing well. And this is what we do. California is a beautiful state led by a clown. I would say it to the man's face. I have no respect for these people. Get thee out of office, Satan. Go play on the playground. Something happened in your childhood that damaged you. You're not right. So what that I wear interesting clothing? Who cares? I'm not a trans. I love my penis. I thank God he gave me a penis. I thank God that I don't have a vagina. I thank God I don't have a period. I thank God that I'm not a woman. But I thank God he made women. Boom! There you go. Talk about a statement. Women and men are not the same. God didn't make them to be the same. Sometimes I want to ask God, why did you do that? I told a young lady today, you do realize that this person you're talking about at work, that ethnicity has contrary thinking. And it's not a racist statement, it's pattern recognition. They will not see the concepts that we see and believe as a rule. It's okay to admit that. That's racist. Only in your eyes, because you don't know how to debate and to argue and to tell facts. There is a people group in the United States that is contrary to anything sane. I've said it, I've observed it, I'll never back up on that. When we become a Christian, regardless of your culture, we have to have the culture of Christ. But what does that look like? We all wear the same clothes. We all walk in CCP. Syncretism, is that what it is? Well, that's what many Christians think it ought to be. Michael, you shouldn't listen to rock music. Michael, you shouldn't dance. Michael, shut up and don't call me no more. We are closed. I don't want to be like boring you. Jesus does not make the difference in you. You got religion. Cool. Congratulations. I'm not religious. I'm religious that I get up and go to work every day. I'm religious about putting gas in my truck and checking my oil and even adding some. I'm religious about mowing my lawn. I'm so people sick of secular clowns. I'm not into religion. Oh, you act like a religious fanatic at a damn ball game. Shut up. What is religion? What is the definition of it? They think it only has to do with God. No, you're a car Nazi. You worship your classic. That's your church. You talk about your 409 and you talk about it and you talk about it and you talk about it and you talk about it. Same thing. Wow, that gets boring. Boring. Maybe I should start a channel and go, yeah. You think they'll donate thousands of dollars to me doing that? Maybe I'll rip the toilet seat off my toilet and go, oh, somebody argued that. Can't plagiarize. One person and only one. Never mind. We're not gonna talk about that because there's too many jackass people on the internet. You ever watched Christmas programs at a school? They're embarrassing. They're a waste of damn time. Mother's got the cameras out. Oh, there's my little baby on the stage. Mumbling words that she doesn't know what they mean. Singing a song they have no knowledge of. Going through the motions. I remember when I was a kid, I had to sing Away in a Manger. I didn't know what a manger is. I didn't know what I was singing. away in a manger. Oh, a fly. No room for us. The little Lord Jesus. Oh, that's funny. My heart wasn't in it. We teach kids to act from very little. But now, on my own volition, fall on your knees. Oh, hear the angel voices. Now that got my attention. Yeah. I want something deeper than my orgasm. I want something deeper than a paycheck, deeper than a house that I got to constantly massage and, keep up. I want something that fills the void that is Michael. How do I walk? I don't know. I know no other way. I can't walk like Jesus. He's perfect. When somebody does something to me, I'm like, God, bring down the holy fire of heaven and get them. I couldn't have my arms stretched out, crown of thorns. Father, forgive them, for they know what they know what they're doing. Get them. No, they know exactly what they're doing. Now, how? Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Does that happen frosted Lucky Charms? They're magically delicious. No. But Christians well and get out the Bible Belt. Michael, you got to be like Christ. Flog me some more, baby. It doesn't work. We're not all the same. We're not the McCall's cut-out dresses that you sewed when you were boring in the 60s. Those were dress barn clothes, too. Gay. I used to make fun of girls when I was a kid. They were so boring. They wanted to play house. Me, as a kid, I had no interest in playing house and submitting to that foolishness. You're going to be my husband. No, I'm going to go play with my trucks in the yard. No, you're going to help me. I'm done, girl. Hell, let me take out a wall that metal dollhouse. Mommy, he wrecked my dollhouse. It's okay, honey, because in real life you'll wreck my house later on. See, I got it out of my system as a kid. Girls waited until they're adult to do those things. Did I just say something profound? Oh, you better believe it. Women want to dominate us when we're kids. They want us to play house. They want us to be nice. They want us to do everything. We're like, we're out. Then we want a relationship, and now they want to wreck our real house, not the dollhouse. They don't know how to run a easy bake oven, let alone a real one. Did you hear what I just said? Ooh, bug. Missed it. Come back here, you gnat. Every time I bite bananas. Fruit gnat. I want a woman, when I walk in the house, she's got her top off and she comes up to me. I have missed you all day. How was your day? Well, it sucked, but seeing you like that just made it all better. Let me shower and I'll meet you in the bedroom. And I will lay you down and I will kiss all the way down to your navel and back up again and romance the stuff out of you. Women aren't like that today. Most don't want or care about sex, especially Christian women. questions to ask God. And I won't be able to ask them because by the time I get into heaven, I won't need to ask because I will know. My pastor has been very transparent with me. I was telling him what was going on at my job one day, and he chuckled, and he goes, tell you what, I'll go work at your warehouse. You want to run the church this week? I said, no. Same thing goes on in here, Michael. Adult babies. People that can't get along. People that are judging people for trivial stuff. He said, people that want to be in charge and don't belong in charge. Just like the little girls who want to play house, you got people that want to play church. They want to tell the pastor what they think he ought to say and do. A woman got on my channel the other day telling me, well, I don't say racist, I don't say sexist. Well, that's great. Don't say this, honey. Stop telling me what I say. That goes for a girlfriend, wife. Don't tell me what I can and cannot say. Not going to fly. If you don't want to hear my speech, do not get involved with me and don't listen. You got your out. You got your choice. But don't come up and put a muzzle on me. Because I'll go, and bite it off. I'm fighting Irish. And I don't go out and do this and threaten people. But anybody who tries to put their chains on me, I will break them and I will get out. And I will die trying. I am free. I'm a free spirit. I've left 3 women out of a marriage because I wasn't good enough for them. Criticized. They were Christian women, all. They were dead in bed. They were boring in bed. They didn't do it. I was honest with them to a fault. I'm 6. And people don't get it. There's a lot of people that admit their ignorance when they post a comment. And not to draw attention. I did a video and people were making comments. I'm like, they don't understand the significance of what I just put together. It's not just a video of me being funny. There's satire. Or not always satire. Sometimes there's my deepest. I posted a picture of an island. I had the haunting melody of My Heart Will Go On. I had the heart of the ocean with the island. Look. Where is it? Don't be putting those naughty naked pictures up there now. Where is the island? Ah, boy. So I had the Titanic music playing, and I edge into the screen to draw attention to the heart of the ocean. And you have the tragedy that's associated with the song. But I'm longing for not the cold Atlantic, but that beautiful ocean, that beautiful island. I'm a Christian. I'll never get to live in that in my life. But guess what? If God allowed me the foolishness of being able to fulfill my dreams, did you know in Tahiti, the women are having sex with animals? Not Tahiti, but Pitcairn, where the descendants of the Mutiny and the Bounty are. Did you know in the islands you got weird stuff going on in 2026? Tribalism, people swapping wives. You think everything's perfect in there? That's beautiful. But the reality is the people don't reflect any of that. They reflect that we're sinners. And if there's one thing I'm learning about the universe, it's unraveling like a cheap sweater. Man, wake up, people. The owner and one of the bosses came back from Jamaica. I said, how was it over there? He said, I felt guilty. For what? the poverty over there. He said, I felt guilty all the money I'm spending as a tourist. I said, well, I thought they just sit around drinking and smoking pot. He goes, well, that does exist over there. I have no desire to go to Jamaica because I just think of Bob Marley and stinky underarms. That's all it is. Pot smells like bad BO. Why would I want to pay to go to an island and sniff that? I would have been more like the Mutiny on the Bounty myself. I wouldn't have done anything to Captain Bligh. I would have taken him aside and said, look, can I talk to you, please, sir? I don't want to go back. I'm asking permission because I'm a free man. I want to stay here. And I believe Captain Bligh, if I'd approached him that way, would have said, so you want to defect? But I think if I'd have handled it the right way, he said, all right, you choose to stay, but I'm not coming back to get you. So if it don't work out, Michael, you see those beautiful women in the movie coming out in their little slinky tops and coconuts and mangoes? Who would want to get back on that stinky, musky ship? Not me. I could have had a tribe down there. All those women would have gone after me. I could have had wife 1 and 2 and had a tribe. And I'm not saying I would do that in real life, but guess what? I would if I let my flesh go wild. Any of us would. Why not? There's nobody there. Just you and all those women and a couple men that they're not interested in. Shoot. The sky's the limit, baby. But the islands, they're not paradise. Wherever you go, there's people. Bakersfield, California is a yucky place. Death Valley is a yucky place to be in the summer. Can you imagine, though, if there was a community in the middle of Death Valley, an oasis with wells and good fresh cold water, palm trees, and they were all loving, caring believers, and they weren't cliquey and rude and strange? I think I'd opt to move there. I don't like triple-digit heat, but there's something in us to belong to a part of an intimate community. A desert would look beautiful. And what you find in America that's fascinating is the most beautiful places are taken over by some of the worst people. Look at the U.S., look at the coastal regions where you got commanding views of the Atlantic and Pacific, and look who lives there. Look who owns the real estate. Turds. Democrat, liberal, pro-abortion, pro-gay marriage, pro-anarchy, pro-racism turds. They've ruined the place. They're cost prohibitive, and they're not paradise. I grew up in California. I swam in the beaches of Laguna and Malibu and Redondo Beach and San Clemente and San Diego. So what? People think, oh, California's great. Yeah, the LA freeways are awesome. Oh, sit for an hour. People get out and play frisbee. Stupid. The smog sucks. LA's hot and uncomfortable. You pay a lot of money to live in a place like that. And your time spent on the beach compared to the time you work just to pay your bills, what's the point? So in that little short, that to me was kind of a picture of heaven, even though there's no sea. I'm like, Abraham didn't receive the promise on this earth. And that's why people drink. And that's why people smoke pot. And that's why people do drugs. And that's why people gamble. And that's why people have illicit, ongoing sex. They're trying to fill the hole that only God can. I'm a Christian. You think I've got everything well adjusted? No, I want to fill the hole too. Not with drugs, not with gambling. Illicit sex would be awesome. Mambo number 5 would be fun. A little bit of Jessica is all I need. A little bit of Rita is all I see. The diversity of breasts is fascinating. The nipples and the areolas are different. I mean, it's fascinating to me. Absolutely fascinating. How do I get to a point where it's one woman for life? I don't know how to pull that off. One, because I've been alone. Two, because I haven't had the women beating my door down to be with me. Three, I'm guilty too. When you can relieve your needs, even though it's a surrogate, I mean, if I'm a baby, I'd rather suck mama's breast. But if you don't have that, at least the baby bottle will do. I've always wanted to try a woman's breast milk. I don't know why. I think it'd be interesting. Some say it tastes terrible. Some say it tastes good. And I look even in my own sinfulness, the orgasm is me trying to attain to heaven, and it cannot be done. Orgasm feels good, but it's so momentary, so fleeting. As sailors would say, shivers me timbers from the plantar fasciitis to my feet to my head. I cannot believe how good it feels. It is a morphine. When that orgasm is releasing, it goes and just sends a absolute tingly feel good right down to my painful spots. And that pain disappears. Like, why are people doing drugs? We need to find a way to bottle that natural stuff and use that as a painkiller. Dang, it works. But only for a momentary. Yes, even in my sinfulness, I'm crying out for deliverance. Two people can sing the same song and it will mean two different things depending on the people. Ain't no woman like the one I got. Could be a positive or a negative. Going to church. We're in a broken world with broken people. It's sad that we go to church. And church should. Should conjure up something. How come it doesn't? How come white people worship is so crappy? Women that have no personality expression on Sunday will go to some yucky song. Their little hand goes up. I'm sorry to be critical. They have no passion, they have no expression. Now when they're in church, they want to make the little show. Why? I need something deeper. Deep calls unto deep, the scripture says. And not all of us are cookie cutter and Pillsbury, man. Not all of us are. We don't just pull that dough that's already pre-made and go and press it on. I'm not. Gay and bisexual men got in here thinking, ooh, I'd like to get it on with him. Ooh, you ain't gonna. Yuck. Heavy emphasis on the. I don't want no hairy, sweaty guy climbing around on me. Them dropping their mess all over me. Yuck. No. That ain't heaven. Not even close. And if we have to look at a woman like we look at a house, we got to go, okay, does the house have good bones? This house needed a lot of work, but it did have good bones. But if I had to do it over again, I would not buy a property like this again. Too much. I'm 60. I'm tired. What I really wish I could do is buy some acreage. I'll tell you where the windows and the plumbing and the electrical goes. You guys do that much, and then I'll do the rest. We're never satisfied. God says in the Word, Paul says, be content with food and clothing. Let us therewith be content. Yes. that one. If you're in a relationship with somebody that's like a house that's full of damage, you got to realize you can remodel a house. You can't remodel a person. Proceed with caution. God may lead somebody to your life that's kind of a wreck. And that person may bloom like a flower with you. Or they can be a thorn for the rest of your days. Proceed with discernment. Sometimes a relationship that you so desire could bring you more trouble than you had being alone. Pick your poison wisely. I thank God for the freedom that He's given me to be brutally honest on social media. I think going to church is so disgusting sometimes. I want to hear my pastor. That is the only reason I attend. Looking at teenagers that are half-heartedly doing things and don't say hello, please, thank you, excuse me. Choir that's singing the same songs week after week after week. And the choir director, who's a corporate man, got a crushing grip handshake. He don't do it no more. I communicated loud and clear, no more. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care what you drive. I don't care how big you think you are. I'm not impressed. I look at a black guy that works in our paint booth. He has to take and get the rust off of items. He has to primer them, paint them. He works his magic in there. And he's always happy and upbeat. And I always told him, I said, I appreciate you. You're always upbeat. Well, thanks, man. I'm a person who believes in complimenting when I see something complimentary. I don't care who it is. I say, you're really good at your customer service skills. Really? Yeah, you're always nice to me. Thank you. Oh, I love my job. I said, I know, and it shows. I criticize, but I also compliment. I even said about my ex-wife, she was good for nothing, but she was a hell of a worker. Not in our marriage, not with raising a kid, not as a homemaker. Fail, fail, fail. But she's an outstanding worker. As a worker, if I had a business, I'd hire her right now and I'd put full confidence in her. Relationally, hell no. I'm very objective. Very. I had a wife that was good with children. She babysat. She worked at Mary Moffat's daycare that used to be in Prescott. She was good. Relationally, no. I chased an Asian woman all the way to Hong Kong. She wasn't good at sex. She wasn't good relationally. She had a teenage mentality. She was 6 years older than me. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought only Western women had that rest me biage. Oh, no, she had that going on. And when I took pictures, other Western women, when I brought them back here, said, Mike, she looks like the B word. Look at her face. I know. I'm stupid. What a fool believes. Doobie Brothers were onto something there, even though they were doing doobies. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If God sent me to a place like that, it would be a honeymoon until you got involved with the natives. Then you'd be going, man, I wish I had that job at that warehouse in my quiet little life in a boring street in Georgia. Be careful what you wish for. You might go from the frying pan on simmer to the fire in somebody's pot as a headhunter. That's why people vacation. It's an illusion. Let's go on the Hantavirus cruise ship. Tonight we're having Ebola burgers. All right, Mom! Welcome to the COVID Cafe. All you can eat 24 hours a day. Mom! I went to the Bahamas and I got ringworm. I slept on a dirty cot. That's great, son. I got lice in the Philippines. Sweet. I got malaria in Africa. Did you? Oh, it was beautiful. I had fever so bad I was delusional and yelling things in the middle of the night, waking everybody in the hut up. It was awesome. Would you like another glass of dysentery? I'll take 2, please. We got some herpes casserole. That looks good. Syphilis soda. We got some gonorrhea soup. That's really nice. Have you tried our chlamydia clams? I don't care where you go, there's problems. Right here, there's problems. Not me, that. First of all, it doesn't look like that. That sun is setting or rising and the ocean is not going to be that hue. Light does weird things. You can have turquoise lagoons. But by the time the sun's that low, water's going to be more black or dark. But it's pretty. I mean, we look at that, we want to go to that. And it just happens, there's flowers and 2 starfish. No. That's artistic license, run amok. No, you go back deep into that village back there, and a lot of them old gals back there with lunch lady arms and hair under there, and they don't smile at you because you're a round eye and they don't like you. Yeah, everywhere you go, there's issues. You try to live on Hawaii, they call you Hallies. Talk about a bunch of babies over there. Guam, too. You're a Hallie. That sounds like something a kid would call somebody. You go to Guam and they're called Chamorro. And they got a thing, do not call them Chamorrons. There's problems. I did reading. The Chamorro people are totally unaccepting of us. Why? Well, they got a military base, and we know what happens to people in the military. They turn out like this, and they become your worst arch enemy. That's the scary thing. They do. They join the military, and they come out, and they do this crap. Yeah, fun, huh? Fun. So, when you wonder why I be sexy, because it feels good. I try to anesthetize my own pain. May not be something you do. And you can wishful think this or that. I'm honest. I'm transparent. How do you walk? How do you act? How do you be? Acting is easy, but you're not good at it. That's the problem with corporate America. That's the problem with church people. They're not even good at acting. It's so fake. And we do this, and we think that other people can't see it. Dude, this is acting. This is acting. Running around in your underwear. That's it. No, they're not panties. I love these Hanes. They're men's underwear and they're colorful. You're running around in your underwear when you're faking it because I can see it, others can see it, and you don't think that anybody can. You're not that good. A good movie, good acting, is when you can take a volleyball and you have a relationship with it. And it takes on a life. And the ball starts floating across the ocean and the guy's saying Wilson and you're crying in a movie theater. That's good acting. Because they managed to do it so well that now the ball has a personality. But some corporate guy, I'm doing well. That's not even good acting. That's just, you're boring. You're not genuine. You suck. This ship is out of this port. And I picture my life when I left Hibbing. I pictured me as a ship laid up in a frozen port. The engines are off. You just sit there. And then the day I leave, I picture the engine starting up. The locals going, what's going on? Oh, that ship's getting ready to leave. You know, we're all sailing a voyage. I've had to pull up anchor many times and get out of a place. The more I travel the earth, the more I realize every port you go to's got dirty, oily water in it. Every one. And I'm not implying anything by that except to say we live in a polluted, fallen world. A cruise ship is an illusion. All you can eat buffet, scarf and barf, bunch of fat and skinny women running around in bikinis, all getting drunk, all acting stupid, spilling out onto the decks, no room in the pool, and you're going, wow, okay, I pay $5,000 to be around a big old crowd. Why? I've often thought, wouldn't it be fun if I got permission to walk into the provinces of China and a woman that's older but beautiful, doesn't know any English, and she motions, come, fixes me a meal, and she washes my clothes, and she lays me down and massages me and lays on me and makes love to me. That's more the life I want to live. Boring reality is awful. It's oppressive. It's hard. I have an Indiana Jones in me. Can I be domesticated? Should I? You know, as a kid, we grab things. I want this kitty. And the kitty is like, you know what? This kid's touching me all the time. I don't like it. Watch people in their environment and ask yourself, should you pull them out of it into yours? Go look at the ocean. Go look at the sea life. It's beautiful there. It's not beautiful in an aquarium in a confined, restricted area. You don't take a hippopotamus and put it into a closure at the zoo. You don't do that. You don't take a Michael Nelson, even as a Christian, and say, you're a Christian, you're in the army, you better love your wife, you better do this, I better shut, I'm not going to listen to you. The marching orders Jesus has for me, biblically, are supposed to be the same as everybody else, but how that looks in my dressing, in my, diversity is allowed even in Christendom. In styles. No, God doesn't want me to have two wives. God doesn't want me to do the Indiana Jones thing, even though he allowed me to. To all the women I've loved before. One of my Filipina girlfriends said, you need to sing that song, Michael. I said, you be quiet. She goes, it's true, Michael. And she'd laugh and press her little chest up into my chest. You know you like all of us. Guilty. I would never have a harem in the U.S. I'll be lucky if I can get one. But what is the caveat? Will it work? Will it last? Is it just another vapor that goes and vanishes? It's interesting to look at pictures of the Titanic. It's just down there in the dark. The rust is just slowly tearing it up. It's amazing the ship lasted that long. It's amazing that God allowed us to be able to see it. The tragedy was one thing, but the violence with which the two halves sank was phenomenal, and still survived enough to retain its majestic form on the bow. It's just well built. I mean, you imagine being a fish or something, and you're like, what is that? Yikes! Ship going by. And to think at that depth, a human steps out a sub, you couldn't even open the door. The thing would go, your brain, every part of your body, there's oxygen in it. You just be a squirt of something. And there's crabs walking around on the deck. How did those crabs get up on the upper decks of the Titanic? Did they just drop in? What did they climb to get up there? They didn't take the stairs. Only God can create animals that can live at that depth. I wish God would supernaturally allow me, where he took me out of my sleep, plunged me deep in the Atlantic, and I'm breathing and I'm fine, and I can see the wreck as if though it's daylight. And I could go in to the rooms and see it all. Go down the cargo hold and look for the Renault and be like, wow. And live to tell about it. And people say, that you did not do that. Go get a sub. Go get a remote and go this way. And I saw it. I think the evening news would be like, how did Mr. Nelson get into that ship? They wouldn't believe it. You implode. You can't swim to 12,500 feet. You can't do that. Be funny, me wearing this and it's sparkling. And I'm just swimming with a smile over the ship. Step onto the deck, step onto the bridge. There would really be a rush. As if I said, okay, God, let's bring this beast up. And the whole thing just moves in all its broken state in one collected piece and surfaces, and there's a boat out there and there's people going, what are y'all looking at? Haven't you ever seen a shipwreck before? I wish my life could be a real Hollywood movie. Who doesn't? Life is boring. It sucks. Mundane bills, taxes. This broke, that broke. Isn't it funny? The air conditioner doesn't break in the winter. It breaks when you need it. Your furnace goes out when it's the coldest day of winter. Your car breaks when it's raining and you got to walk 10 miles. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Everything defuncts itself at the worst possible time. Don't you wish you could get that mysterious phone call? Yes, I'm looking for Mr. Nelson. This is Mr. Nelson. We're a law firm and we've been chosen to represent our client and they wish to give you $10 million. Is this a scam? No, you can look us up. We're based out of Atlanta. We're a big law firm. And can we meet you at your home or can you meet us? We need to sign some documents. We'll have the taxes taken out. You'll be free and clear. And we need to discuss some things. You've inherited quite a bit of wealth as well as properties around the world. And don't you wish that could be your problem? He owns a castle in Ireland. You're joking me. I'm going to Ireland. Can I get Wi-Fi in a stone castle? Big old satellite dish on a castle. What the heck is that? Mike's doing his YouTube videos in there? Sheesh. Castles are clammy and cold. You'd have to have a heck of a fire to warm that beast. I'd like to do a movie where I go back to the future. And I'm wearing this stuff. And I'm on the deck of the Titanic. And everybody in that Victorian and Edwardian society is looking at me like, WTF. And I tell everybody, can I show you something? What is that? It's a phone. What's a phone? Where I call people. Watch, I can video my friend right now. Michelle, show me your face. Hi, Michael. Everybody on that ship would be gathered around. Are you really talking? Yeah. It's 2026. Now let me show you pictures of this ship on the bottom. The bottom. You are not going to make it. You're not going to make it. Molly Brown, you're going to be saved. You're not going to make it. What would be the reaction? And I'm showing pictures of the stern and the Titanic. There's even going to be a movie made with Rose and Jack. And Molly Brown, look, this woman's playing your part. Can you imagine that? Hey, Bruce Ismay, come here. They're going to call you a child killer. Sneaking off the ship, you little bad boy. You better do right. Wouldn't it be fun to go back to Napoleon's day and me walk right across the field? I can't be shot because I'm supernatural. Hey, y'all need to stop. What is this? I'm Michael Nelson. Where's your clothes? Oh, here we go. Worried about my clothes. Napoleon, you're going to be sent to St. Helena Island. What's that? It's in the middle of the Atlantic. Loser, you need to stop. Wouldn't that be fun? To stand up against Stalin and Lenin, go back in time and go, and they can't touch you. So you're an atheist, huh? You're killing all these people, huh? Wouldn't it be fun to go back and turn the hands of history? And somebody's in the Smithsonian and the libraries looking deep into records. What is this? There's a man who stopped something. They think he was from the future. No known photos. He goes by Michael Nelson. He wore an amulet around his neck shaped like a heart. Wouldn't it be funny? Who wouldn't want to make a Hollywood movie of their crazy self? But where you're the victor. That'd be awesome. But no. You get up. Kind of like Charlie Brown kids. Pigpen, Linus carrying his blanket, Schroeder playing the piano, Snoopy laying on the doghouse, going, that Snoopy laugh cracks me up. Who's the girl that's always depressed? Pepper and Patty, I can't remember. Somebody's always down. Lucy's got her psychological office, which doesn't work. 5 cents. Most psychology's not even worth a nickel. How do we walk? We need God to help us, man. Some relationships are like two feral raccoons stuck in a cage. Not good. if you're going to get in a relationship, you better make sure it has a seal of God on it. Because if it doesn't, you're going to regret it. By the way, I hate corporate America and I hate corporate acting. It's very poor. It's crappy. They think because they got college, they make the big money that they're better than me. They're not as genuine as me. They're not as real as me. They're not as transparent as me. And I'm turning this ship around. I don't care how big you think you are. You're actually quite minutia. That's why you act that way. You're overcompensating for something. Child of God, never forget who you are. Never. You're greater than that. Because God made it so. God has chosen us foolish things to confound the wise. It's not going to be a who's who of the Fortune 500 famers or the actresses or the stars in the sports. It's not. There's not going to be one rap musician up there that God's going, oh, wow, man, I loved your music. Have a good day. Be safe. Pray for me. Pray for Colette. Pray for Michelle, the one I'm interested in. Pray for Colette's mom. Pray for Blondie and Danola and Avita and everybody else that's discussing their struggles with health and problems. And Dr. Mantis, he hasn't been there a few days. That concerns me. Pray for him. If we as Christians don't care, then there's nothing. We are the ones that can point to the hope, to the truth. How do we walk? In love and care, in prayer. We're not going to be perfect, but we need to acknowledge our brokenness. We need to acknowledge our imperfection. We need to get real with it. And don't get on these treadmills of trying to be perfect. You might as well go to the gym 8 days a week and just sit on an exercise or running machine and go like, you exhaust yourself. Doesn't work. Read the Word. Be honest and allow God to unravel the onion skin layers of your life. Till next time, be safe.